5.7. Call me or lean on me, or better yet, just call me. I've got a bad back. It's 8:39. 21 here before 9. Let's check in and find out how Wall Street's doing this morning. Head downtown, Sebring, to the offices of Statler Financial Services, where Phillip Statler's standing by. Morning, Phillip. How are you?
Good morning, Dave. How you doing? Well, I had to fight the fog to get in this morning, but other than that, it was a great start to the day.
That's it. I didn't see any fog up here. I will admit that I got to kind of turn around and look out the windows, but I didn't have any. Looking at yesterday, boy, this is a practicum as to what one stock can do. It was a good day on Wall Street, but the Standard & Poor's was up almost 1.5%. NASDAQ was up over 2%, and we talked about this in the morning, that Boeing was weighing down the Dow. The Dow was up. I mean, a 200-point day ain't bad, but it was 0.7% up on the Dow, weighed down by Boeing, just getting creamed by investors, aren't they?
Yeah, they really were. I mean, given what's happened the last 6 months with Boeing's aircraft, it did weigh on their stock, and that weighs heavy on the Dow, being a price-weighted index. And so, I mean, it's a pretty big thing to say how far it came back yesterday when it was starting. I don't know. At one point, it was 200 points to the minus yesterday, and to end up 200 points to the positive was not a bad showing at all.
Yeah, it was an undisputedly good day yesterday on Wall Street, and I'm not really 100% sure why, but Boeing is sitting 3% down again this morning. They got to fix that 737 question fast, don't they?
Yeah, they really do, and I think there's some concern. I mean, a lot of the countries other than the United States have basically, grounded that aircraft, and so there are some concerns here. At least in Congress, about that aircraft. The FAA does not seem to be one bit bothered by the issues. They've I guess dug in pretty deep and think everything's okay with that aircraft.
Yeah, to put people's minds at ease, there has been no indication of major problem with the U.S. airlines that have had that wide-body 737, but there's been two really notable crashes. Oh, I think both of them over in Africa over the whole thing, and it's a scary thought, that's for sure. A lot of folks are checking their flights and changing planes if they can. Starting out, macro news today coming out of the government. We got a data dump of two vital figures. First of all, consumer inflation up 0.2% in February, and then we add on to that wage gains during the month as well, up 0.3%. Good news in both directions. I'm assuming that's about what the market was expecting based upon your analysts, right?
Yeah, it was. I mean, that's exactly, it came in line with what was expected. So nothing earth-shattering there to affect the markets. And then, wages came in, I think, about where they expected them to, about 0.3% increase there. So that's kind of in line with what all the economists are predicting. So some good numbers there. We didn't miss. And so, now we just got to look to see, because we're really kind of tailing out here on earnings season. So there's not going to be much more in the way of earnings, Dave.
No, we can actually respond to macro figures for a little while, my side of the fence, for lack of a better term. One thing I noticed this morning that we talked about a little bit before we went on the air, it doesn't sound like it's on the consumer news radar screens, but one thing I do watch is the interest yields on the bonds. 10-year Treasury bills are yielding 2.65% this morning, and the 2-year Treasury yields are only running about 2.4 something percent. We're inside of about 0.2% on yield, and that indicates a weird cross possibly imminent on the bond market. Now, that hits weird stuff, but it indicates basically that investors are looking at the future of the stock market with a little askance eye, and they're buying a lot more 10-year bonds than they are 2-year bonds. At some point in time, somebody's going to have a hissy fit over that, and we're going to see a warp on the market, I have to believe.
I would think so, too. I was really surprised, that we've not seen any headlining analysts or economists come out and start talking about that. But I guess until it gets right up next to it, and maybe 0.2% isn't up next to it yet, Dave, that we won't hear much. But I got to think that if that crosses, we will definitely be seeing some headlines.
It tends to indicate projections from the big investors as to what the lifespan on the economy is, and becomes kind of a predictor, I would suspect, of when the smart money is expecting a correction or a recession to begin, right?
I would think so, because that's an indication that people are moving to safety. And if they're buying the 10-year, not the 2-year, that means that they expect that maybe to be a little bit of a protracted term as far as the recession or the bear market, whichever they're thinking is coming.
Understood, which is why we watch the bond rates as carefully as we do. Let's see, company news out this morning. You mentioned we're toward the end of the earnings season down the line. Chipotle, I had to giggle about this. Chipotle Grill has now announced that they're instituting a loyalty program for the survivors of those restaurants, right?
Yeah, exactly. So everybody's
They
trying to do a loyalty program. They want repeat business. That's the bread and butter of any business.
Absolutely. They're just a company that's had so many bad news reports in terms of oopsies in their restaurants over the last few years. I got a giggle out of the loyalty program at Chipotle Grill. There was some good news that came out after the market closed, one that we've talked about before, Stitch Fix, which I'm partially familiar with, but they're evidently taking off okay, huh?
Well, they are. They had a good quarter anyway, and they're one of those. You see them on Facebook advertising where they'll send you stuff. You try it on. If you like it, if not, you send it back. And so they came in at 12 cents a share. They're only expected to come in about 5 cents a share, so it was a pretty good beat for them. The revenue came in above the forecast. And here's the deal with Stitch Fix. They raised their full year revenue outlook, and that's a good sign for them. They've increased the number of active clients by like 18%. So some good numbers there too. And so they're up substantially this morning. I mean, they're up to almost 27%, 26.5% this morning before the market opens up.
Cool start. I've always said the longer I live, the less I know for sure. Somebody told me we'd have a business plan that said, hey, we're going to just send clothes you didn't order to you off of the internet, trust you to send them back and buy the ones you want, and we're going to make money off that. I think I'd probably bang my head against a brick wall first, but doggone, it works.
It does work, and then the other retail we had coming out, I guess you call Stitch Fix retail, is Dick's Sporting Goods. They came in. They only beat by a penny a share, not huge. Their revenue came in above forecast also, but with anything, it's a three-legged stool, and they're missing on the third leg. They gave weaker than expected full year guidance, and so they're paying the price for that this morning, trading down a little over 6% today.
Not a good thought in the boardroom at Dick's Sporting Goods anyway. Resetting the table for the morning yesterday was definitely good news. Like we were commenting earlier, the Dow didn't go up as much as the rest of them did, but it was up 200 points. NASDAQ up by the better part of a 150 increase, and the Standard & Poor's was up over 40. I'm looking at my numbers this morning. It looks like Boeing's weighing down the Dow again this morning, Phillip. Which way are we going with the rest of the money?
So right now, I've got us in the green by just a tad. The Dow is actually, you know what? The Dow disappeared. I'm not sure what keeps happening here.
My quote has it down by about 55 points, and everything else was marginally green, but you've got the more up-to-date figures.
I do, but for some reason, my Dow is not showing up on my current list, but I show it down on a delayed quote, down $70. I got the S&P 500 down up 4. I'm sorry. Let me get to the right page here. S&P 500 is up $4. NASDAQ's up 19.5. Gold and silver. Gold's up about 0.5%. Silver's trading up 1.2% this morning. And then crude oil is moving back up 0.75%, back up over 57 to $57.24 a barrel.
All right. Overseas markets, Asia generally optimistic, kind of following suit on us. All those markets are up considerably this morning. Europe's mixed. There's a vote on Brexit in Parliament in England today, which is kind of surprising to see the British markets up midway through their day. Germany's not as optimistic. They're pointing downwards so far. Phillip, somebody needs to turn this information into a fruitful retirement, which is kind of the point behind this whole shtick. How do I find you on the phone?
Give us a call at 382-0037. Follow us online at statlerfinancial.com, and then join us on Facebook at Statler Financial Services. Like our page, and you'll get a rebroadcast of this every day. And then join us every weekend for the Statler Financial Radio Show, noon on Saturdays, 10 a.m. Sunday mornings, and now streaming live. So if you can't get us on the radio, you can always get us on your smartphone.
We be online on your smartphone. This Saturday, by the way, don't forget 12 hours of Sebring, so we're going to miss our Saturday appointment on News Talk, but you'll be there on Sunday morning as per usual. Fair enough?
Fair enough, man. Have a great day, and I will talk to you tomorrow.
Got you covered. Thank you. It's 105.7 Light FM and Statler Financial Services, Phillip Statler.
Again, thanks for joining us today as we have a great discussion with Morning Dave at 105.7 Light FM. Hey, if you need to talk to us or you'd like to schedule time to review your retirement plan, click the link above and schedule a phone call. We'd love to chat with you. Have a great day. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow.